Okay guys, I'm here today with Brian Glick, huge honor for me. And guys, Brian is gonna show us here an easy dilemma to escape from side control on pin escapes, and I'm super excited to learn.
Thank you. Yeah, so one of the key things that we've been working on in this next instructional video is the idea of when you're working to escape a pin. Sometimes it's difficult for people who think in just kind of one direction to get escapes going, because escapes are not really like, it's kind of like guard retention, where you have to have a kind of loose direction that you're headed. But because so much is dependent on what your partner is doing, how they're holding you in cross-side, where are their arms, where's their weight, that you have to make decisions in the moment depending on what they do. And then your partner is always changing. So every time you start an escape, your partner is always adjusting and changing because they want to keep the pin. So one of the best ways to learn how to escape is to start to set up dilemmas between you and your partner, so that every time you try one thing, they may counter it, but it leaves you with an opening. So a classic example of this is when you're trying to escape with like a knee elbow escape, a cross-side escape. And this happens like 100 times a day in training, where if you get your guard passed and you're pinned here, your partner has a good cross face here, they have a good underhook, they're square on their knees, so there's no hope really to kind of move them around in any meaningful way. The first escape should always be the knee elbow escape. So in a case, Bernardo, where if you bring your knee and your elbow together here, like this, yeah, this arm is trapped. The first thing that we have to do is we've got to get this arm somehow inside. Because right now, where you're chest to chest with me, I have nothing to push against you with. So we have to get some kind of inside position so we can set up some frames and start moving the person. So the way we do that, especially when this arm is trapped, is we've got to move our partner's head. We're going to hit a bridge and we're going to use a bicep to move our partner's head here just enough so that we can slip this elbow to the inside. Now we've got a strong forearm frame. That's going to help to keep space, and we can use this now, place our knee here, and we can start to invert our knee and slip to get our right knee and our right elbow together. This is a classic knee elbow escape, and then from here you're going to go on to your various ways of getting out of the pin. You can extend and replace half guard. You can go back to butterfly guard. But what often will happen is people will have a lot of success in this initial stage, and then their partner will sit through, so you're going to drop to your right hip. And all of a sudden, they lose what was a very strong frame. That knee-elbow connection is not there anymore. Not only that, but you get your partner sliding their knees up towards your head, and now it's very difficult to reclaim this elbow position. So what are we going to do? We have to set up an opportunity where we take our partner backwards first before we try to reclaim this elbow position. So as long as your head is here and I keep trying to fight this elbow in, you're going to really be focused on keeping this space closed. So we're going to use a pendulum method. That means that we're going to take our legs initially towards our partner and make contact. Okay, this is going to be driving them in this direction. We're going to take the right knee and we're going to put our leg right by our partner's body. Then with our 2 feet together, we're going to create movement and momentum. We're going to kick our legs back and we're going to extend just a bit here. This space is going to help us to take our elbow down to the inside position. Okay, once we get to here, now we've got a strong frame. We can move our hips out and join our knee and our elbow. Now, the thing is that once you start getting used to doing this, you're going to end up with a set of reactions where it may take a few different movements with your partner. So if you come back to your square position with your 2 knees down, I'm going to move your head, come to this position. As you sit through, now you block the knee elbow escape and you sit through into the sit through position here. Yep, good. Now from here, we're going to start to look to sit up. As we come and drop the elbow down, oftentimes your partner will turn their knees back down once again. And as that happens, you're going to lose the ability to pendulum. Now from here, you try to bring your knee in. Your partner sits their legs through once again, and you have to take them back a second time. So we can use a combination of a knee elbow escape on the inside and a pendulum action where we're moving our partner backwards in order to create a condition where...
So you're always combining both.
Exactly. Between the push and the pull, we're able to get space where we can connect our knee and our elbow. Or if the person just sits back, you're going to be able to sit up. But with an experienced person, it's unlikely. So the reason that this is important, I think, is because it shows us that whenever we're working to escape, we can't have a single, like, individual defense that we're working.
Because the opponent's expecting, and
people are always very dynamic with their their pins now. So we want to be able to have a situation where we can play one off of the other. We play a strong knee elbow escape against a strong pendulum. The pendulum itself, I mean, nobody worth their salt is going to get taken in a backwards direction. but everybody will react. And that reaction is what we're looking for.
It's going to open doors and no, and I love the idea of creating this dilemma, because if you only have one option, I know what you're using and I can kind of like overcome that. But now once you put me in this spot that I have to think about two different scenarios, now I'm in trouble there.
Exactly, and I think that this idea of kazushi or off balancing your partner is something that we're really familiar with, like in the standing position or when we're going to sweep somebody. But the thing is that when you're working to escape, you also have to be thinking about off balancing your partner and creating some sort of motion or movement. The hardest thing in the world is trying to escape against somebody who just wants to hold you there.
I fully agree.
Like you see this in judo all the time. You know, people get to like a kezugatami, a side control pin, and you're watching very strong, very athletic people who are unable to get out.
Yep.
And a big part of the reason they're not able to get out is because the person on top is not moving.
Good.
They're just stuck there. They're sitting there. So
yeah, well, that makes total sense.
Yeah, like in jiu-jitsu, we have there's a lot of dynamic movement on the top, because you're not just going to want to hold me in side control. You're going to want to mount or look for arm locks and things like that. So one way to do it is to wait for the person to move. But if you can't wait, you have to create the movement yourself. Right. And so we need to use methods like this pendulum knee elbow dilemma to create a situation where the person's moving, and then from there we can start to escape.
No, I love it. And I love the idea that you are not the very strong, tall, big guy. Yeah. So if it works for you, it should work for everybody. Like.
Yeah, and I think pins are very difficult. You know, when we were doing this this instructional, pins are really demoralizing.
Yep.
You know, like you spent a lot of time trying to recover your guard, retain your guard, or you know, be very proactive from your guard. You get past, that's one thing. Yep. But if you're pinned and you're sitting on the bottom of somebody's weight, especially if you're a smaller person, you may have a whole list of techniques in your mind that you want to execute, but unless and until you can get your arms back inside, you can create frames. Not only are you in a bad position where you're worried all the time about getting submitted, but you're having to carry a much bigger person's weight on top of you, and then it's exhausting.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so I've been there more often than I would like to remember getting stuck underneath. So I think in cases where, especially for smaller people, where you can't move your partner, you have to move yourself.
Good.
And a dilemma like this, you may not be able to move a bigger person off of you this way, but you can generate momentum with something like a pendulum
to create more options.
Exactly.
Oh, that's incredible.
So that's it,
yeah. So guys, Brian is shooting an entire instructional all about pin escapes, and if you know him, he's one of the best instructors. And so make sure to check it out. It's going to be at bjjfanatics.com very soon, and hopefully by the time you are watching, it's already there. So thanks so much, Brian.
Thank you so much, Bernardo.
Please help me out to grow my YouTube channel. Just click subscribe, and to watch more videos, just click under see more videos. I hope you enjoyed.
BJJFanatics.com. Use the promo code YouTubeFaria to get 10% off any instructional video. Improve your jiu-jitsu faster.